welcome back to another episode of Fentola Sports Hub. Of course, it's your girl Fentola, and this weekend we'll be picking some of the games around the leagues in Europe, the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1. Now, of course, we are starting off with the Premier League, and one of some of the games that I think are going to be exciting to watch and what you should expect from those games. One of them, obviously, it's Newcastle Man City. Now, I know Man City played out a 2-2 draw in their game against Arsenal last weekend. It was an exciting game. You could see how well Arsenal tried to pick all 3 points from that game, but eventually had to share a point or share the 3 points between themselves, with John Scholes getting the equalizer in the very last minute. It was a painful one for Arsenal, I want to believe, but it's a good game. It was a good game, unfortunately, because of the red card that was given to Leandro Trossard. You know what, 10 against 11. I even feel if it was a case of 11 against 11, that match would have still ended in a draw, and that was exactly what I expected it to be. But this time around, Newcastle is hosting Man City in St. James's Park. Now, Newcastle is going to have, yes, a lot of work in their hands. Yes, they've been a good side, recently. They've not done badly, but they also have some of their players that were on suspension, the likes of Tonali, back in the team, and I think it's going to be a lot of work for Man City to handle. Man City unfortunately has Rodri out with an ACL injury for the rest of the season. Kevin, we are still not sure if he's going to start. I think it's going to be an interesting one, that game in particular. And Man City has not lost any game this season, so I don't know how it's going to turn out in that particular game. But I want to believe that Man City should still be able to edge the win, probably with a 2-1 or 1-0 or 3-2. There's one thing I know for sure is there are going to be goals in that game. The second game is Arsenal against Leicester. Now, Arsenal has been on a ride. They've been doing so well. Even without Martin Odegaard, they've brought in Thomas Partey, who has also been excellent. And I think it has been quite interesting to see how Arsenal are setting up. They've gotten a lot of goals from set pieces, and I do think a lot of teams should actually look out for them when they are taking their set pieces. They've scored a lot of goals, coming on from last season, even the season before that. Scoring a lot of goals from set pieces. I think it's going to be a very interesting game. If you look at the lineup that played during the week in the Champions League, it's going to be a different list of games. Or even in their last game in EFL, playing against Walsall, winning that game 5-1. Yes, Saka was in the game, Jorginho was in the game. You will look at this game and say, oh yes, of course Saka is going to start. Kai Havertz is obviously going to start. I'm not so sure if Raheem Sterling is going to start. But of course you would see Saka, as I said, you probably see Martinelli, you will see Jorginho, Thomas Partey, you will see Saliba. You will see that formation, and you can tell that it's going to be an amazing game. However, Arsenal has, had a bit of struggle against Leicester, finding it difficult to win. Even in their last game in the EFL, I can't remember what the result was now. But Arsenal just somehow struggles against Leicester City. But this time around, Arsenal is playing in Emirates Stadium. It's going to be quite interesting, and I want to believe they're going to win. They are literally on Man City's neck, so they know they can't afford to lose that game. Another game that I think is also going to be an interesting one is Chelsea against Brighton. Chelsea has been on a very good run, in the last 4 games, winning their last 3 away games in the Premier League, and then this time around they'll be playing at home against Brighton. Brighton also has been a very good team. You can see what they did against Manchester United, and they are a very tricky team. Even when they played Arsenal, that game ended in a draw. They are very, very, very tricky. They are very tricky. I think defensively they're very resolute, so I wouldn't be surprised if that game probably even ends in a draw, or if by chance Chelsea takes their chances, breaks them on the counter, they should be able to win that one. But worst case scenario, I do believe that it should end in a draw. Now, Liverpool also have been on, I think, their game that they lost against Bournemouth at home, put a lot of things in perspective for Liverpool. You see them beat the last game in the EFL, they won 5-1, beating West Ham 5-1. West Ham has been terrible, but Liverpool has been amazing. You see the likes of Diogo Jota, Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo, Mohamed Salah, coming into that team, starting their starting lineup. Mohamed Salah, for example, didn't start the game in the EFL, but they still somehow got 5-1 win. So I do think as Liverpool at the moment are doing very well. They have that front three: Mohamed Salah, Darwin Núñez, and what's his name now? Diogo Jota. That three lineup, they are amazing when it comes to counter attack. It is a lot of work that Wolves would have to do to be able to, keep them out of getting a lot of goals, because I know Liverpool is definitely going to win that game. Another game for me is Aston Villa Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town are the newcomers. They've not. I don't think they've won any of their games since they came into the Premier League. They were able to get, I think, a draw against Fulham. But Aston Villa is a very good side, with the likes of John Duran, who is getting the goals, Ollie Watkins, who is amazing for them, John McGinn, who is also a resolute defender, but it's also scoring. It's a lot of work for Ipswich, and I do think Aston Villa is going to win the game. They are presently, I think, number 4 on the table, so it's going to be a lot of work for Ipswich Town. I don't see Ipswich Town getting a draw even this one. Probably Aston Villa is going to probably beat them 2-0, or worst case scenario ends 3-1. And the last game in the Premier League is Manchester United against Tottenham. Now, mind you, as I will just always say in my last video, I don't know what it is about Manchester United. They are struggling in European competition. They are struggling in the Premier League. I don't know what their coach is doing. He is clueless about making the right changes. Tottenham, even at the moment, is probably even playing better than Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes is not scoring goals. He's not even playing as well as he did last season. This has been from the beginning. I think since the end of last season, he's been struggling. Rashford is also having his on and off moment. It's just a lot with the team, and the coach is still not understanding that you have to learn to be able to make the right changes to get the results that you want. He's not understanding that, but I hope they don't make that same mistake in this game against Tottenham, because Tottenham right now is doing very well. Solanke is scoring for them. Brennan Johnson is not doing badly. Kulusevski also is not doing badly. So I don't know how Manchester is going to handle. However, they do have Andre Onana, who is their goalkeeper, doing very well for them, making a lot of saves. I think recently I saw a stat of, some of the good keepers at the moment in the Premier League, and I think Onana was number 5, with David Robert Sanchez of Chelsea on number 1, Raya of Arsenal number 2, Aston Villa goalkeeper also number 3. I don't think Andre Onana has done badly. I think he has even kept them, where they are on the table right now. They are number 11 on the table. I think he has kept them there because of the amount of saves he has had to do, to keep them in some of the games. But you look at the game against FC20 in Europa League, I think during the week, failing getting the goal, Eriksen getting the goal, and making the mistake for 20 to also get the equalizer. It's a lot of work with that Manchester United team. And the board is still supporting Erik ten Hag. I don't know what it is that they are still seeing in him, but you can tell that a lot of fans are not happy with that guy in charge of those players. The players they have are not bad, honestly. I don't think they are. But I do think that they need a coach who really understands what to do with some of those players. It's disappointing that he doesn't, but hopefully they are not going to do badly and fall down, the pecking order of the table, because at the moment they are not doing good. They are number 11 on the table, as I said earlier. Hopefully they can probably get the result against Tottenham, but I can't guarantee. Probably worst case, that match is going to end in a draw. And then in Bundesliga, it is Wolfsburg against Stuttgart. Now, Stuttgart beat Borussia Dortmund over the weekend 5-1. They've not been doing badly. Wolfsburg also I don't think they've had great results. I think it's been up and down. But Wolfsburg is playing at home. There's a chance that they might probably pick a win against Stuttgart. But this Stuttgart team that I'm looking at right now, they're amazing. Even in the Europa League competition, you could see the results they got is not bad at all. So it's going to be an interesting game. But to the main game of the weekend, which I think is the biggest game of the weekend, is Bayern Munich against Bayer Leverkusen. I think because Bayer Leverkusen are the champion, they're the defending champions, and Bayern Munich at top of the table, I think 5 wins out of 5. And the amount of goals they are scoring is amazing. At the moment, I think they have about 17 goals. And the funny thing is, Bayer Leverkusen, they are getting goals, but they are also conceding a lot of goals. So I think there are going to be a lot of goals in this game. Although the last time these two teams met, Bayer Leverkusen beat them both home and away. I don't think it's going to be the same case right now, because Harry Kane is firing left, right, and center, getting 2 goals at least in every game. Michael Olise is also getting 2 goals, getting assists. It's amazing for Bayern Munich right now, and I think it's going to be a tough task for Bayern Leverkusen to go to Allianz Arena to get probably 3 points. I do think that game is going to end in a draw. That is if Leverkusen is able to defend very well, because as I said, their defense has not been as resolute as it was last season. They've been conceding a lot of goals. It was just by chance that they were able to get all 3 points in their last game in the weekend. I don't know what they have to do this time, but their defense has to be worked on. So that's the game for me that I think is going to be a big game over this weekend. And in Serie A is Torino against Lazio. Now, interestingly, Torino is on top of the Serie A table. I don't know how that came about, but that's the reality. And they're hosting Lazio, was been struggling. I do think it's going to be another 3 points for Torino in that game. And then Bologna against Atalanta. Atalanta is struggling. They lost their last game 3-1. It's been disappointing. Bologna on one side has been a very good team. I don't know what it is that Atalanta's coach has to do. Piero, I don't know what he has to do to get that team working again. But as Europa League champions, they can't be playing the way they are playing right now. And there has to be some sort of improvement on that team. And then we move over to Ligue 1, where Monaco, PSG, and Marseille are all sharing the same point on the league table, and they are all playing this weekend. Monaco is playing Montpellier. PSG is hosting Rennes, and Strasbourg is playing Marseille. Now, those are some of the interesting games that I think that you should watch out for. It's going to be interesting to see the result, especially in League 1, as to who will win and then eventually top the table and who is going to do. It's still going to be a case of them all sharing, top of the table with the same number of points. But those are the games that I think is going to be quite interesting. And for the other fixtures over the weekend, at some point in this video, I'm obviously going to put them there for those that are interested to know what the other fixtures are. But please don't forget to share what your thoughts are about some of these games, what you think Manchester United to do, sacked Erik ten Hag, because that is literally the song that a lot of fans have been shouting, sacked Erik ten Hag, sacked Erik ten Hag. I don't think the board is going to do that. Probably if they will do that, they should have done that since last season, but I don't think it's going to happen. But the other games, Chelsea against Brighton, what you think the result is going to be? Newcastle against Man City, do you think Man City is going to win or is going to end in a draw? Some of the other games across Europe, what you think should be done, in cases where the teams are not doing well. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to also put on your post notification button to get our latest video when they drop. Share with your friends, discuss about the games, and of course share your discussions on my channel. Well, I'll be going now because I think I've shared my thoughts and I want to hear yours. Until I come your way again, it's bye from me for now, and enjoy your weekend.